of Wicked Easy Cooking. My name is Chef Colin Roche, and today we're going to be making wicked easy Italian style meatballs. Probably 30 minutes, you'll have these things done. Quick, easy, a go-to recipe when you need a fast meal. And these meatballs freeze really well. So when I make them, sometimes I'll make a double or triple batch and then freeze them. And then during the week, I need a quick meal, I'll just take them out, throw them in some sauce to heat them up and serve them over pasta or on a meatball sub. Kids love it. So let's get started. Okay, I have the recipe here, which I will post down in the comments section as well as at the end of this video. This is going to make probably, depends on the size of your meatballs, but we're going to use like 2 pounds of meat. So you're going to get quite a few portions from this. Okay, I want to start right out with the first ingredient, which is a ½ cup of breadcrumbs. I want plain breadcrumbs. You can get them Italian, which has herbs already in them, but you know, we're going to add our own herbs. So this way here, plain, we can control what the flavor is. You can also get panko and different styles, but for this one, just get some plain ones. You can actually make your own if you wanted to, had some old bread. And what we're going to do is we're going to add 1 cup of milk to this. Okay, we're going to mix this in, and this is going to, you know, allow those breadcrumbs to absorb, you know, that milk. And we call this a panada, you know, usually with fresh bread or mixed with a liquid. Now, if you don't want to use milk, you could use water. You could use some beef stock if you have some, since we're going to have, you know, beef in our meatballs. But, you know, I'm using milk, you know, give it a little bit of, you know, fat in there, a little bit of cream, a little bit of flavor. All right, so we're just going to let that sit. And that breadcrumbs are going to start absorbing a lot of that milk. And then we're going to have 3 tablespoons of olive oil, and we're going to have about an onion diced. I'm looking for a cup when it's all done and said. So, you know, probably a medium onion, maybe a small onion. But looking for about a cup of onions. But again, with all the recipes, if you like something, add more of it. If you don't like it, omit it or cut back on the amounts. This goes with the herbs and the garlic and the seasonings. It's your recipe. It's going to be a good base for you. So I want to get this started right away too. So what we're going to do is we're going to heat this olive oil in a medium skillet. What we want to do is pre-cook these onions, you know, get them to translucent. So then we can add them in with our other products. So we're going to get that going. Okay, so about 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Just so in here, maybe a little bit more. Okay, and then we're going to add our onions right in there. And we're going to stir these while they're cooking to get them to translucent. Probably 5 minutes or so. You know, don't brown them. We don't want to scorch them. We don't want to get them, you know, too dark and toasty. We just want to break down some of those cells, release a lot of their moisture, and sweeten them a little bit. Okay, then we're going to grab a bowl and we're going to mix our meat. I have about a pound of hamburger here. I like chuck. Chuck's from the shoulder. There's a lot more movement with the animal, so it has a lot more flavor, I think, rather than just, you know, if you got ground beef, it takes it from all different parts. And you don't really need sirloin or something like that, so I look for chuck. And then we're also going to have about a pound of ground pork. I think this ratio works out great. Sometimes though, instead of pork, I'll use turkey. So you can use a pound of turkey in here with the ground beef. You know, if you want to make it maybe a little bit healthier for reasons you don't eat pork, you know, turkey would suffice. Now before I dump it in here, because this is compact from being in the grocery store, I like to take a knife and just kind of, you know, make some lines down it. It just facilitates the mixing of these ingredients. So I just put lines down like that, you can see. And then I'll turn it the other way and make lines the other way. So I end up with like a little crosshatch, you know, little squares. And again, it's just to break this meat up, so when I'm mixing it, it'll be a little bit quicker. So you can see I did it with the pork here. Okay, and then once we get it like that, we can just dump it into our bowl. Okay, we just dump both of those in. Now let's give our onions a stir. You can see they're already cooking up really nice here. So put them back on, let them keep cooking. Okay, we stir it up. I just use the knife here at the beginning. Kind of like you would cut in butter into a pie crust. I'm just kind of cutting these two meats together just to get the initial mixture you know, get them combined a little bit before I add the other ingredients. Okay, and then as your recipe will say, we're gonna add those onions when they cool for a minute, but all the other ingredients are gonna go in. So we have our panada here, our breadcrumbs and milk. You can see how thick this has gotten. It kind of looks like oatmeal now. We're gonna mix that in. Okay, then we've got 3 eggs. So you want to add that into it. That's going to be our binder. Add our eggs in. Okay, got those 3 eggs in, and now we're going to add in our garlic. Here I've got about 4 cloves, so we'll dump that in. Okay, and then we're going to have some seasoning. Again, any amounts or types that you want. For this recipe, I have a ½ teaspoon of red pepper flakes. If you like it a little bit more spicy, a little more heat, add more. I also have a ½ teaspoon of oregano and a ½ teaspoon of basil. I'm using dried, so I'm just going to sprinkle that in. Okay, all around. And then we've got Parmesan cheese grated up. Got about 3 tablespoons here. We're going to toss that around. Alrighty, and now we also, lastly, we have some parsley. Okay, about 4 tablespoons. So you take about a quarter of a bunch you buy and you chop all that up, and that's going to give it color and some nice flavor in there, like a palate cleanser. Alright, so now we've got our onions. They're pretty much done. You can see the color has changed. They're not brown. We don't want to brown them up, but they've gotten more translucent. So you can see these. So I'm just going to put these over here to cool just for a minute, and then I'm going to start mixing all of this, and then we'll add that in afterwards. Okay, so you want to get it all incorporated here. And you can see those eggs are mixing in with the cheese and all the parsley and the herbs. Okay, we mixed that in, and then we're going to add in our onions. Scoop that in. Okay, incorporate all those onions in there. And lastly, we're going to have to add some seasoning. So I've got salt here. I'm going to put, you need to add a lot of salt to this, so I'm going to put 4 teaspoons, but you know, you decide how much salt you want. We are going to do a little tester here in a minute. Some pepper. Incorporate that, and then we'll give it a little bit more, especially of the salt. And like I said, we're going to do a little tester so you can decide if it has enough in it before we go into production, and then you find out that you don't have enough. Okay, more of that salt. Okay. As I mentioned, let's do a little tester on that. So let's use our same pan here. We'll just wipe it out a little bit. Just has the onions in it. And we'll put it back on the heat to do a little tester of this mixture to make sure it has the right consistency and taste and seasonings, and you know, maybe we want to make adjustments before we go in and produce them all. So I like to just get a little bit and I make a patty. So we'll put a little oil in the pan. Move it around, and then I'm just going to put a little patty on here. Okay, in the meantime, while that's cooking up, we want to get our sheet pan, sheet tray, and I like to use a little disher, you know, an ice cream scoop, and you can choose whatever size you want. You know, you can make big meatballs, obviously going to take longer to cook. You can make little small ones. I find the small ones are better. For my family, it gets, you know, a little bit more surface area brown, goes well in our sauce, and it's easy to portion control, especially for my kids. So I can give them 5 or 6, you know, small meatballs with their portions. So we have that. I like to give it a little spray. Probably don't need to. This one's already a non-stick, and there's a lot of fat in these burgers, but I give it a little bit anyway. and then we'll get ready to go into production here. But first we want to test it. So this one side's cooked. I'm going to flip it over, push it down a little bit. We're making like a little hamburger patty taster, a little mini one. See how it is. Okay, now another thing is regarding sauces. After I cook them in the oven, then I can freeze them, I can save them, I can use them in a lot of different applications. But one is to put it with some red sauce to have over spaghetti. So I would just get a jar or something that's really quick that you like, put that in. But I'm also going to show you a quick one because we're going to have some time while these meatballs are cooking. So in just a minute I'm going to show you a wicked easy buttery tomato sauce. It's quick, it goes on, it just cooks by itself. I use that, I freeze it, and it's a good all-purpose, all-around tomato sauce. Okay, so this is cooking up nice. Yeah, I'll give you a shot of this. Okay, I think this is ready to taste. Turn off the heat here. I'm gonna get another little piece of paper towel here just to blot it because I don't want to get all that, grease as the first bite. Put it on a little paper here. And then we'll just, make like a little sandwich there, blot it dry. Okay, blot it dry, take my fork. Good. More salt. Thought it would need it. That wasn't quite 4 teaspoons. I think it's going to need a little bit. The Parmesan cheese usually gives it a lot of salt itself, but in this case, wasn't enough. I'll do it with a little more pepper. And last little mix here, and we'll go into production. Okay, so then just take your little disher off to the side, drop it in. Okay, so we just keep doing this, and then we're going to take this whole tray and pop it into our preheated 425 degree oven. And for this size meatball, it's probably going to take about 20 minutes to cook. We'll check them as we go. Especially if you're going to recook them again, you may want to undercook them a little bit to freeze them, and then later on when you reheat them in the sauce or in an oven, they'll finish cooking. But either way, I'll probably cook them all the way. So let me finish this, and then I'll show you throwing them in the oven. Okay, this one's just about full. I got about 30 on this pan, and I'm about halfway. So I'll use another pan, get another 30. So this is gonna make 60, 70 small meatballs, okay? Well, let's get this one right in the oven. Okay, the meatballs go in a 425 degree preheated oven. Throw them in there 10, 15 minutes. Check them periodically. When they're good and brown, let's pull them. Okay, the meatballs are in the oven, 425 degree preheated oven. They're gonna cook 15 to 20 minutes and then we're gonna check them. In the meantime, I thought I'd show you a quick tomato sauce. Unorthodox, not like you'd normally see, but again, it's quick. It's gonna be called the Wicked Easy Buttery Tomato Sauce because we're gonna use butter instead of olive oil. All right, you just throw it all together and let it slow cook. Again, easy, okay? So what we have is get a pan, and you're gonna add in some diced tomatoes. You can do whole tomatoes, you're just gonna have to chop them up. 28-ounce can, any type you'd like. You want some real, fancy imported ones, you want the domestic ones, no name from your local store, whatever you want. 28-ounce can, all the juice as well. Pour that in. Then you're gonna add in 6 ounces of butter. Some people add in 8. If you really want a lot of butter in there, that's fine. We've got again, I'll post this recipe at the end of the video as well as down in the comments section so you'll have it. But in here I put 1 small onion. So it's diced up. You're looking for about a half a cup when it's all finished and diced. So add that in. And then we got garlic. Garlic, I just put in 3 cloves. On the recipe, I added in, but if, again, you want more, add more in there. And then salt and pepper, of course. I'll just put to taste. We'll add more later on after the sauce is finished, but we do want to add some to get started. So some salt and pepper in there. And then I've got some dried herbs. Put any herb in you want. Italian seasoning blend would work, something along those lines. I'm going to put in 1/4 teaspoon of basil, 1/4 teaspoon of dried oregano. All right, throw that in, give it a mix, put it on medium heat, let it simmer, uncovered, for about 30-45 minutes, till it gets thick, maybe a little bit less, depending on how high a temperature. And that's it, it's done. So let's get it going. Okay, we want to cook this sauce for about 45 minutes at a simmer, uncovered, stirring occasionally till it gets thick and where it's wanted. At that point, we can either serve it chunky or we can use a blender and make it really smooth. So we'll see that when it's done. Okay, the sauce has been cooking now for just about 45 minutes. So it's all ready here. If you can take a quick look at this, you can see how it's thickened up. So now that it's done, you can leave it in this chunky style if you'd like, which is more rustic, more peasant style, or you could use a blender or immersion blender and puree it up. I like it a little bit more smoother. That way there I can use it like as a pizza sauce, or I can put it in meatball subs, or I can certainly use it over pasta. So I'm gonna puree that up with my immersion blender. This one happens to be a Breville. I'll link this down into the comments section in case you want to pick one up. Comes with lots of attachments. It's pretty reasonable, $30–40. I don't get any residual anything from them, but it's worked for me, so I like it. It's also detachable, so as you can see here, so then you can wash this and keep this separate. And it comes with whisks and other attachments, but it's worked out pretty good for me. It also has an adjustment at the top for the speed, so you just push this little trigger here. And you can see how it goes faster or slow. So I like to start it on the slow one, stick it all the way in so it doesn't splash you, and then just hit your trigger and turn it up as needed and just move it around. Okay, now we can just give it a little taste, see how our seasoning is. Perfect. I don't think it needs anything. It's just the way it is. So this made about a pint, and as I mentioned, it freezes really well, or you can put it in your refrigerator for a while. It's a quick go-to sauce. It can be used with pasta, lasagna, meatball subs, pizza topping. It's a good all-around, and it's quick. Okay, our meatballs have been cooking for just about 10 minutes here at 425 degrees. Let's take a peek at them. Oh, look at them. They're really nice and brown. I think they're ready. Let's pull them out. Okay, so the meatballs are done. You can see these looking great. Take those off and we'll put them onto a plate. And then you could cool them down and throw them into a baggie and freeze them and pull them out when you need it. Or, use them right away. So I actually have some sauce right here. I'm gonna heat it up. So I'm just gonna plop in a bunch of these cooked hot meatballs right into this warmed up sauce. And then we could use it. Serve it over some pasta with some Parmesan cheese, or I'm going to show you a different way. Making a quick meatball sub, which is a great way to utilize these meatballs. So you'll see over here I have some nice rolls, and we have some provolone cheese and some Parmesan cheese. We mix these meatballs into that sauce, and then let's serve it up. We're going to put this into an oven to melt that cheese. So I have one of these rolls that's already split. We'll put that on here, and we're going to fill it up with sauce and meatballs. I think I'm going to use like 4 meatballs in this one, so you can see it all in there. And then we're going to put, well, let's rip this provolone in half and kind of put 2 slices for each sandwich. And a little bit of this Parmesan on top and into the oven to melt. Okay, there it is coming out of the oven. Doesn't that look great? Looks yummy, so we'll put that onto a plate here, and then let's cut this in half. Ooh, it's hot. See if I can even get a bite here. Mmm. Meatballs and the sauce are great with that cheese and that nice toasty bread. Well, thanks for watching. Hope you'll try this at home. And if you do, let me know how it worked out in the comments section. And lastly, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. We'd love to have you as part of our community. Bye-bye now.